Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. I'm Sparky Fifer from 105.7 The Fan in Milwaukee, along with Gery Woelfel at the other end of the table from the Racine Journal-Times. Joining us now from the Prairie School, their boys' head basketball coach, Jason Atanasoff.
Very good.
Yes! What happens to us if they go on all right?
Practice almost makes perfect.
Right, it's all right. All right, Coach, first things first. I have got to know what it's like to be the boys' head basketball coach at Prairie for that entire time Gabby Ortiz was on the girls' basketball team. Because I'm telling you, if I were you, I'd watch our videos and throw tomatoes at Gery Woelfel's head on the computer screen as he just continued to hammer it in. Seriously, how was that?
First off, Gabby's a great girl, very close with my wife and I, and we got to be pretty close with Sean, and Melody's just a phenomenal basketball coach. So they certainly had the spotlight those 4 years and continue to, and you know, she's been coaching over 20 years. So
sure,
we're hoping to eventually get on a level playing field with our girls program.
I mean, you've got your work cut out for you. I mean, you don't necessarily have a track record necessarily at Prairie with basketball. So how do you go to change that culture and start to build towards that winning tradition?
That was probably the biggest question when I took over in 2011. The biggest challenge. We had, I think, 23 or 24 boys coming out. We couldn't even have a freshman team. And we had over 50 come out this year.
That's incredible. I mean, you just said it nonchalantly. You couldn't have a freshman team.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes, you know?
And so we have a unique no-cut policy. So we added a fourth team, a varsity reserve team, and put together a 15-game schedule for them. And, you know, all these people say, oh, great job, great job. I think just being in the building as a teacher is what did it the most. My first 2 years at Prairie taught 3rd and 4th grade, along with high school classes. And so this freshman group and sophomore group, I had since they were in 3rd grade. And got them interested in basketball, and now hopefully the results are starting to carry over. And I don't teach at the elementary school level anymore, so I'm a bit concerned about that, getting kids interested. But we are, admittedly so, we have a great soccer program, and everyone knows that, and we've won multiple state championships, and I hope that continues. I just want those soccer players to know, hey, basketball is a good option in the winter, and for the most part, we're starting to do that.
How many guys do you lose to soccer? Maybe like 2, 3 guys that could actually help you think? Or?
Several good players a year. Logan Ketter was an all-state goalie who was a basketball player in Stockton High School, and Eric Frank was an all-state soccer player we lost. And there's one freshman in particular this year we were disappointed we lost, who was a really good basketball player. So. But the 4 or 5 a year is becoming 0 or 1, so we're making progress there.
That's interesting because, Gary, I mean, you know, we bring coaches in here all the time for the last several years doing these videos, and you always hear football, football, football. That's what it is. And at Prairie, it's not. It's all about soccer.
Our coaching staff went to the clinic up in the Dells this year, and we're listening to Steve Showalter talk, and he's talking about, my foreman is always a big, tough football player, and we all just kind of look at each other.
There you go.
But you know what? We have tough-minded kids, maybe not with a football mentality. So we try to take, whether they're soccer players or basketball players or whatever.
How does the weight room work in that? I mean, because does that make it even more difficult then to get you in the weight room, or no? Or to get them in the weight room? It does,
because in the fall, you know, our football players are staying in the weight room several days a week. Our kids maybe aren't doing that as much, maybe not at all. But certainly in the summer and right after soccer ends, whenever that is, we're in the weight room all winter. So kids who haven't touched a weight for 2 or 3 months, unfortunately, are going to be sore for a few weeks. But we try to get in at least twice a week with our strength and conditioning guy and do a lot of basketball-specific work in the weight room.
Sure.
Well, you had mentioned you had 23 kids out when you took over the job 4 years ago. How many do you have now?
52 came out.
Is that right?
Yeah, we're down to 45 or 46.
More than twice as many, obviously.
Yeah. So
that's what my grade school, St. Catherine's, St. Mary's grade school education paid off. I knew it was twice as many.
Well, that's good. I mean, I went to Holy Rosary, so I went to a private.
Hey, time out. You guys actually have something in common. Do you know that?
We do.
Yeah, there's a link between the two. You know what it is, right?
I do. St. Joe's.
Oh, St. Joe's.
Yeah. There you go.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I went there my freshman year.
And then you got thrown out.
Then my parents said, yeah, that's too expensive. You're done. You're going to public high school after that. And then I went to public high school after that. Talk a little bit about that difference, too, because you have everybody freaking out about, different schools, about private schools, St. Cat's, Whitefish Bay, Dominican. Oh, they can recruit. They can go steal players from the public schools and so forth. And how that whole thing works. I don't get that sense that necessarily has ever been attributed to Prairie, that you guys are stealing kids from the public schools and bringing kids in.
That would be true. And, we're a college preparatory school, and yeah, it's about education first. It really is. So we just can't get any kid in who may struggle academically.
Right.
But if they're good students and they're on campus and interested in Prairie and they shadow for a day, I'm absolutely willing to meet with them and talk basketball a little bit, but it's going to talk about their education, their character, and we take pride in developing leaders. Male, female, doesn't matter. We build leaders who eventually run companies or are very successful people, and yeah, Prairie's just the starting point. They have to do well in college.
Sure.
I get that, but I don't think it's a
good starting
coincidence.
point.
Yeah, when you look at our alum and what they're doing, I don't think it's a coincidence.
Don't you have like 100% graduation rate or something? It's something off the charts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Well, let's go to the next level then. How often or how involved are you then with the summer basketball programs like AAU and having your face out there?
Well, our boys play in the summer league several years at South Milwaukee, and we're possibly going to switch to the Park League. We're kind of talking about that with the coaching staff. But as far as in the spring in the AAU scene, if our kids are on a team, I'm going to watch.
You are. Yeah.
I am not going to say, oh, there's this kid from Kenosha or Racine, and you got to go out and watch him and get him at Prairie. I view myself as a high school coach.
Sure.
I'm not going to go out and recruit. Give us the kids who we get in the middle of November, and we'll make the best of what we got. So, yeah.
Got to ask you about your team. You're playing a bunch of freshmen.
Yes, we are.
How many freshmen are in your starting lineup? You got J.C. Butler, and you have...
Well, all three have started at least one game.
All of them have. Okay.
But our last few games, J.C. Butler has started the last few games, and Logan Krecklin and Troy McKaylee, are other two up there. And the unique thing about this freshman class is normally at Prairie we get one, maybe two kids who can play in a class.
Sure.
And this group's got 8 or 9, maybe 10. We have 5 others moved up to JV.
In one class?
5 others moved up to JV, and then another couple kids who can play who are on the freshman team. They were very successful all throughout middle school, playing the WIBL league and doing well in that, and winning, I forget the name of the tournament, but some tournament out in La Crosse and Stevens Point they won. I had to remind them, though, that St. Catharines and Dominican were not
there
in those tournaments. But a really good class, and the first class I've seen that has multiple basketball players, where basketball's first, and then another sport's their secondary sport. So that's fun and encouraging to have. Yeah. And we're also playing 2 sophomores, Mitchell Krecklin and Matthew Kaufman. So we got 5 underclassmen who are all averaging over 10 minutes a game. I think just as importantly is we have 5 seniors, only one who starts, who it would be really easy for them to be selfish.
Powell, right?
Yep, Luke Powell's starting. You look at a kid like Bobby Gierteg, Conference Soccer Player of the Year, Racine County Soccer Player of the Year, role player in basketball, and embraces it. He's a leader. It would be so easy for him or our captain Nick Grotmall or Forty Leopold to just be selfish. C.J. Thompson's the other one, star soccer player.
Sure.
But they've embraced these young guys. They know something special's hopefully coming, hopefully in the future. And
that's just it, though. I mean, and again, I hate to bring her back up, but that really changes everything if you get a player like a Gabby Ortiz or something along those lines, because then your thing of, I just need my other athletes to come out that aren't coming out for basketball. They do so well, then they go play soccer or whatever other sport, and they go play basketball. You win for 3-4 years in a row, and then the perception changes. Man, that looks like a lot of fun, man. School's really getting down the basketball program. I want to be a part of that, because that has to be what's going on with soccer. And you need to get that to basketball. So if these freshmen are as good as you said, and they continue to improve, that could be the class that changes the perception and changes the momentum for a long time.
Sure. And they can be. I just don't want... There's already enough pressure on them. They're getting a lot of headlines. When you rank 14-year-olds, it's like, come on, but 3 are ranked in the top 100 in the state, and you're like, all right, whatever. But just to get that attention
Yes.
is great, but they got to keep working.
Sure.
They just as easily, we can be 500 when they're juniors and seniors.
Sure.
They got to work their tail off, and it's no secret we play in, without a doubt, the best non-Division I conference in the state. I mean, it's not even close. We have 3 teams ranked in the top 10 right now.
Well, you beat me to the punch. I think you've done a terrific job. You're 3-3, and you do play in what I consider one of the best conferences in the state. I mean, obviously, you have Whitefish Bay Dominican, which might be the best team in the state right off the bat.
Yeah.
You got St. Catherine's, you got Kenosha St. Joseph.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 3 really good teams.
They are. Jose's really turned it around at St. Joe's there. And then you also got Shoreland. Paul Strutt's phenomenal.
Right.
You got Racine Lutheran, Jeff Christensen, phenomenal.
Outstanding
Catholic
coach.
Central is, I think, 1-5, and they're just as good as almost anyone.
Really?
I mean, it's every night a challenge. And so I think we were picked to finish 8th out of 9 teams. We lost 2 4-year varsity players in Sam Hayden and Sam Kerhajic.
Right.
And, we want to become a consistent program.
Well, you've won more than 10 games the last 2 years, which
We have, which is the first time
kind of
in a long
unheard
time.
of at Prairie. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a long drought, and all of a sudden to get into double-digit victories, is quite an achievement.
Right. I'm a firm believer, and I've coached several different sports. High school athletics, there can be such a gap against who you're playing. In college, I watched Wisconsin Buffalo the other night. Buffalo's still all-conference, all-state basketball players on their team, right?
Sure.
So in high school, there can be a huge gap. So it's about getting kids to buy in, believe in the coaching staff, believe in each other. And if you can do that, wins and losses, for the most part, I think, take care of themselves. Now, can a coach and staff make some great end-of-play set or in-game adjustment that may affect 1 or 2 games? Yeah,
Sure.
but we get kids to buy in. We want to play really, really hard. And that was, to be honest, a big challenge at first. Just our kids' mentality, complaining about refs and things like that. But I think we're turning a corner and just buying in and playing really hard, and we'll look at the scoreboard after the game.
Sure.
Do you like this new format that they're going to do here, where if you win so often, you can get moved from divisions?
Do I like it? I'm not sure. Am I thrilled that in a few years Dominican may be Division III? I'd be lying if I
Of course, then Diamond Stone's going to be gone, right?
Well, I will say this. The fact that they're making it sport specific, I think, is a good move.
Right.
Because if Dominican, all the success in boys basketball, and Coach Berger's done a heck of a job the last few years. Everyone thinks, well, you got so much talent. Well, you still have to coach, and he's done a nice job up there. And but if they move, whatever sport, their football team or girls soccer, whatever, up a division, I think that would have been ridiculous to involve in an entire athletic program.
I agree with you. He is the coach from Racine Prairie School, and freshman class is coming.
And
we
Steve
don't
Harrison-
want to put pressure on him, but let Gery Woelfel fall in love with one of the players, and it's all over.
You got to take your final exam. How do you pronounce coach's name? Come on. It starts with an A.
Atanasoff.
There you go.
Twice in one video.
There you
See
go.
Sparky Fifer. He is the coach from Racine Prairie School. You'll be hearing a lot from him coming up in the next couple of years. Coach, thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you, guys. And
thanks for
thank you,
coming.
assistants. We have a great assistant coaching staff.
Yeah.
I got to thank those guys.
There you go.
I see them in the box score. They look pretty good in the box score. Wow, this was an inside joke. I will talk to you guys next time here on Sports Junkies at RacineSportsZone.com.